It's a trucking, transportation, and lifestyle show like none other.
Man, you call this a life?
Road Gang Radio is back for another half hour of the best transpo show in the known universe.
We come in peace. Well, actually, we're falling to pieces.
Let's see if we can achieve liftoff, Phone Master Dre.
Oh, we achieved it into that last hour of Road Gang Radio. That is live with Jimmy Mack from Fast Forward Studios.
Yeah, and by the way, we kind of just fold in our friends over there at Trucking with Oida to kind of make that happen. We're trying to get Rusty on the phone as we speak here. Big thanks, by the way, to Fan Inkwright. That work is really extraordinary. You can find, and by the way, rather than kind of unpacking the bureaucracy of all of that, you can find the information you need on our website at radionemo.com. Just click on that link. Trust me on this. Even if it isn't your bag, they got some great bags on there, by the way. Even if it isn't your bag, I know you have somebody in your life. Take a look at it. If there's anybody in your life who's into nature, folklore, tabletop gaming, any of that kind of stuff, or just wants some beautiful journals and some great stuff to kind of look at, the work really is extraordinary. I mean, this is a truly gifted human being and worth checking out. By the way, speaking of gifted human beings, Scott and Ashley are really incredibly talented. That is a beautifully produced show that is called Trucking with Oida. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary of Landline Magazine by welcoming in someone who's been involved from the start. Todd Spencer will be joining them. It's a wonderful interview. I've already gotten a chance to hear it, by the way, guys, and I know you'll enjoy it. And Dre and I are probably next week going to play bits and pieces from that extended interview. He's reminiscing about those early days, which included selling his truck to pay for the magazine's first typesetting machine. You got to hear that story. It's crazy. And also reflects on everything the magazine has become since. Narita Taylor is going to be in the second part of the show, has a recap of her recent visit to the Veterans Community Project site in Colorado, where she delivered gifts provided by the trucking community and a preview of the upcoming Truckers for Troops campaign. A lot of this stuff kind of kicks in all together. I don't know if you guys know this, but we do the transition trucking, driving for excellence. I know you know that. What you don't know is how deeply involved our friends at Oida Dre are with those guys. They really are. I mean, they do a lot of work. The winner of the Transition Trucking Driving for Excellence is given a lot of perks from Oida because, after all, they have, in the blink of an eye, become the owner of a Kenworth T680 Next Generation truck. And when that happens, when that kind of unfolds, when that goes down, there's a lot of questions they have, even though a lot of the stuff has been taken care of. Oida kind of steps in to kind of assist and aid them, as it were, in helping them make their journey a little bit further down the road. Just to kind of give you a sense of what is coming up here on Road Gang Radio, once again, we will be joining you guys tomorrow with another terrific lineup. Really excited about that, along with our good friend Pastor John. Another edition of Load 'em Up, Move 'em Out. We got a military segment with Nate Boyer. Another edition of Tech Talk. We're actually doing it tomorrow. Robert Braswell has asked for a little bit of dispensation. He will be joining us tomorrow, so you're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be at 8:30. And then at 9, when Lindsay arrives on the scene, as part of the business of making a life, we're going to be talking to some folks over in Bowling Green, the Bowling Green Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, about some stuff they got coming up here. Welcome back. It's Road Gang Radio. Good morning to you, Lindsay Lawler. Thank you for indulging me in all of that bureaucracy we had to kind of take care of. Good to have you.
Thank you for handling it while I found a way to allergy rid my face and my head. My allergies with the seasons changing are kicking my ass. So thank you for handling the business so I can handle my business.
You're quite all right. Matter of fact,
Thank you. We've got our next guest on the line, don't we?
We do, and I'm so glad you gave me a chance to do that, because often we have these shows are so packed and so crammed with so much information. I'll get to the end and look at all the bureaucracy I didn't cover. So it was actually kind of good to get that out of the way. Hey, Rusty.
Hey,
Rusty is joining us. Would you care for me to do the introduction here, Lindsay,
I'll
or you?
introduce him.
You
Is
go
that
ahead.
okay?
Take it away.
Another person who marries all of our worlds around here. But our next guest has spent nearly 4 decades in Hollywood producing some of television's biggest reality hits: Hell's Kitchen, Survivor, Big Brother, Nanny 911, the list goes on and on and on. But now, instead of wrangling chefs and contestants, He's wrangling pelicans, grizzly bears, and the imagination of children everywhere. Rusty Austin has turned his storytelling superpowers towards children's books. They're funny. They're beautifully illustrated. They are so sweet. They're collections that teach kids about animals and curiosity and creativity. And with the 6-year-old, I certainly appreciate these. His latest, An Awesome Bird, the Pelican. Guys, it's not just a book. It's interactive. It's got poems and fun facts and illustrations created by middle school students, which is so sweet. So today we're going to talk to Rusty about great storytelling. Jim, whether it's on a set in Hollywood or on the page of a children's book, it's a perfect continuation of our last guest to remind us magic is everywhere. Am I right, Jim?
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, I'm so relieved too, because I actually looked at the copy of it through my wife, through her permission slip, and then went on to log in this morning and was like, oh no, wait, I don't have the book. But I'm so thrilled to have it back again because I have so many questions about specific things in here. It is a wonderful book for kids of all ages, and it's a great reminder of the power of the imagination and what it means to actually put a crayon, pencil, or any sort of artistic creation device in the hands of a kid. It is wonderful. Thrilled to have him here. Good morning to you, Rusty. The power of imagination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you got it. Lindsay, you want to get this going? You want me to kind of go? Because I got so many questions to begin with.
Well, go for it.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
Rusty. So I'm kind of curious because there are so many wonderful sort of, there was a great line from 6 Degrees of Separation. Why are second graders wonderful artists and third graders only so-so? It's because the teachers take the crayon out of the hand of the second grader before they go back and ruin the picture. How did you decide which pictures of these animals you were going to use from the kids? How did you kind of make those choices?
Well, there was 100 kids, and all of them drew a picture, and I had 40 poems, so I kind of had to decide which pictures were best to match the poems. But what I did was so every kid could get their picture, and I put all their pictures on the front and the back, so there's like a section of just pictures in there too. But the way I chose them was just the picture that matched the poem the best is the one I chose.
I'd actually like to back up a little bit too, because you've spent your career telling other people's stories, so to speak, and finding out how to create real human stories, which children are humans, by the way, as well. But I'm curious how that background of your background in reality TV and television in general and Hollywood really shaped the way that you write for children, sort of understanding the psyche of an adult versus where they were as a human. How has Hollywood shaped that for you?
Well, when we're in reality TV, I like to say we shoot first and write the script afterward, and the script is you write the script first and then shoot it afterwards. So what you have with reality is you end up with, I don't know, 300-400 hours of tape, and you've got to hone that down and just keep whittling away in editing until it's down to 45 minutes for the show. And my poems are generally 12 to 15 words and only 4 lines long. So it's kind of the same process, right? I start out with some facts about the animal, where it lives, how it eats, like that, and then whittle it down until I get to the bare bones of it, which I think is much more appealing to kids because they don't want to read for half a page about something. If I can just give them 4 lines, and they're happy.
I got to tell you, Lindsay, when called upstream, the salmon won't stop until she makes it to the top. And Yuretsi Hernandez actually did this illustration. What I love about it, just to give you a sense of the child wonder that is in this book, the salmon is, of course, coming out of the water, but it's got this open mouth and the beginnings of a smile, and it's actually aiming its eyes towards the sun. And so one of the really terrific things that happens in a lot of these pictures is personification. Rather than just having pictures of the animals or just kind of them attempting to kind of replicate something they saw, they actually are infusing them. And I have a feeling that I wouldn't be surprised if some of these animals looked a little bit like their parents or a little bit like themselves, because there's a real sense of that's very playful. Just to kind of go to Julianne Rivera's, the wild-eyed lemur likes to live at night, which is why she has such wide eyes, to give her stellar night sight. And the lemur is, like I said, the lemur has these big giant eyes, and how night is created is really, really fun. So, like I said, I wanted to kind of ask you in regards to creating those poems, how long were they, or did you have like a word count limit to it, or did you start longer and then just keep cutting? Because you alluded to that, but didn't give me the complete answer.
Yeah, I generally start longer, and then I just go in and cut out everything that's superfluous. The lemur poem is a bit longer than what I normally write, but it worked out well, I thought. You can take out like ands and whens and theirs and that kind of stuff, and it generally makes for a better poem.
Well, because you mentioned the lemur, I got it. Just in case you want to take this project to another level, Rusty. I have my half bathroom has lemur wallpaper, and my dining room has wallpaper that's got meerkats. And I kept thinking, I'm like, oh my God, these illustrations would be great on wallpaper. So I'm just throwing that out to you.
Yeah. Okay.
It would work.
I'll keep it in mind. It in mind.
Thank you. But and I love, the book's illustrated by these middle school students. So that collaboration, I'm so curious how much you were working with the kids or getting it submitted, and what it really did. What surprised you most about working with kids on art, and what surprised you most about yourself that sort of did it take you back to being a kid by working with kids?
Well, I'll just tell you briefly how it came about. I was on a website called Donors Choose, which is a GoFundMe for teachers, and a local teacher had asked for money to buy poetry books, and so I contacted her through that website and offered to come in and read one of my books. And when I was in there, I saw how interested the kids were. They were so rapt, they paid such close attention that I pitched the idea of having them do the pictures for the next book, and so she loved that idea. She put the whole thing together. They worked on it for about 2 hours every Friday, so it took about 4 to 6 months. But
cool.
I would go in occasionally and just poke around while they were working and talk to them, and yeah, it was great.
I love that. Also, by the way, the teacher's probably like, cool, this will kill some time in class for me. It's a win-win.
Oh, the kids were so excited about it too. They just loved it. And another thing, by the way, is I had to make a deal with the Palm Springs School District lawyers, and I couldn't do any contracts. I just gave each kid $20 on a book, so I paid them.
Win-win.
Hey, everybody's learning the value. Everybody's learning the value of getting paid for your work, though. I have another question, and I actually went. I found out where I was. What I was thinking of here. The caiman has a membrane that nictitates to better underwater see her dates. And nictitates is in there. That word is in there. And I'm wondering if there was also, based on the kids' understanding, but that kind of sense of a series of unfortunate events, if part of the design was to make sure that every once in a while some harder words would drift in there, would make their way in there.
Absolutely. As
a way of kind of upping your vocabulary skills.
Absolutely. I try to do it at least 3 or 4 or 5 times in every book, just an unusual word that the kids would have to think about and look up and maybe Google or ask their parents. And plus, nictitate is just such a fun word to say anyway.
I know. And by the way, I had no idea how to pronounce it, by the way, which was hysterical. And it was only because of the rhyme scheme. I went, oh, okay, I got it. I was able to kind of go back and kind of get to there, and that kind of made a difference. I thought it was really groovy. And like I said, did you start off with goals, or did they develop in front of you as you kind of went through it?
They just kind of develop as I go along. Like I'll be out driving, and I saw a herd of sheep, and so I was inspired to write a poem about a ram. The ram will ram you, so too the ewe, if neither finds itself with nothing better to do. Mm-hmm. And what I do when those things come in my head, I just add them to my notes app on my phone as I'm going, so I don't forget them. Because if I don't write them down within about an hour or two, they're gone forever.
I'm curious. I'd like to know. I'm sure there's so many themes in here that we realize. I mean, I think the simpler things are, the more profound they are. And we, as adults, have made things more complicated than they need to be. And I think
we have.
Right? Your poems, your books, this whole project is a really great reminder of that. And, it's not just for kids. Now, granted, I will read this with my 6-year-old, but I might sneak away and read it by myself outside one day too, because it's that much joy. So, I'd just be curious if a parent or a teacher is listening right now, what's one thing that you've learned through this process that they can do to really encourage the curiosity in their kids the way that your books do?
Well, give the kids a chance to write their own poems and draw their own pictures. That's why I included do-it-yourself at the back of every book. And I think it's really important to get them involved, on a tactile level, really, just so they can feel and hear and think about it on their own.
And then was there anything that you learned? I mean, I know you've written a bunch of books, but let's say through the course of shifting, of sort of quote unquote leaving Hollywood and shifting into this realm of children's books. And sometimes you write the occasional nonfiction adult book as well, as you say, but is there something that you've learned about yourself through this that might encourage somebody else to dive into? What did Rusty learn about Rusty through becoming a children's author?
Well, I learned that there's always the second act, always room for a second act. I didn't think I would do anything after I retired, and I found that I was enjoying myself posting these poems on Facebook, and so I said, let's just put them in a book, and it just kind of evolved organically. I didn't really decide to do it or anything; it just happened. So
that's
always be
Rusty.
open. I think that's yes.
No, I'm sorry. I'm so glad that was your answer, because that is an ongoing theme on this show. We have a lot of we have first of all, we have a lot of over-the-road truck drivers that listen, who, by the way, this makes a great gift to take home to your child after you've been out on the road. But in general, and a lot of people that are shifting or, maybe aging out of some career they're doing and looking for that next thing. So again, thank you for saying that, and maybe just maybe expand on what the liminal space, as we've been talking about today, was in between of, like, what was that time when you left Hollywood? You said you were, retired, just sort of enjoying life, posting these poems, not even thinking it was going to turn into to anything. Do you look back now and be like, of course I would have had to done something else. I would have killed myself if not. Like, do you see how that evolution was, and do you remember that time of the in between? Do you remember kind of what that was like?
Yes. What happened was we retired, bought an RV, traveled for about 2.5 years, which was fun, but honestly, it's a lifestyle that for me kind of wore me down, and so we bought a house out here in Palm Springs, and I was just kind of casting around for not really so much casting around, but just noticing that I was writing more and more of these poems, and so that's kind of what I remember most about it, was just kind of how I just stumbled into it. That wasn't really planned or anything, but it did happen, and that comes back to my point of just always be open to what's next.
I love that. That's awesome. It fits right in line with what we talk about here all the time, Jim. Always be open to what's next, and don't overthink it. Let it come to you.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Especially don't overthink it, because that'll drive you nuts in your head.
For sure.
I just kind of wanted to go to kind of the idea of not overthinking stuff, but also kind of not getting overwhelmed. When you have a plethora of ideas, when you're kind of just bouncing with so many ideas, how do you decide what to work on next? I mean, how do you decide where to go at the end of a project? Do you know what you're going to work on next as you begin to wrap up the project, or do you kind of want to give yourself the hammock that Lindsay likes to remind me of between done and next?
Yeah, I give myself a couple, 3 months, and I would also just quote Stephen King briefly: "The art of writing is the art of applying the seat of the pants to the seat of the chair." So.
Yep. Oh, that gives me anxiety. I'm like, to get something done, I have to do it. I get it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's a part of it too. It's not all just fun. Like you said, it's not all just fun and games. You've got to put in the work.
How long before and I call it the lock-in moment, there have been times where I've been dreading having to work on something and I can't get myself going, and then I start working on it, and literally like 45 minutes later, I'm like, why didn't I just start this earlier? What is your, where's your engine turnover point? What does that for you as a creative? Where do you start going, okay, I'm in the flow?
Yeah, I need about 2 months. When I was working, after we finished a show, I would sleep for like 2 weeks straight, because that's how hard it was on your body. And nowadays, I just kind of relax and have, go out to eat for about 2 months before I get started on the next thing.
So I would talk about personality.
I'd like that deal.
I'm just going to have 3 months off. Yeah. I'm just going to go eat for a while. Personalities. So you've seen a lot of personalities in your work over the years. 35 years in TV. So the two questions come to mind here for me. It's, our kids, are they tougher critics than producers? I don't know. That's a question. And as well, what lessons from working in TV with these big personalities, what lessons from there carried over into working with young readers? Because, by the way, reality stars, actors, they are like children. And so in a lot of ways. So are there similarities between your two audiences, so to speak, in both worlds.
Yeah. Well, there's some crossover there, but the problem with the adults is they're a lot less amenable to suggestion, whereas the kids are like willing to explore everything that you think of, and it's there's some crossover there. Yeah. I like to say with reality TV, it's all in the casting, right? We try to pick out people that we think are going to have interesting stories, and then it's, in quotes, we produce them to have those stories so that they're not just running around doing real stuff. They're doing stuff that we produce them to do.
I want to kind of go with the flip side of the question, because you did talk about the idea that children are much more open for experimentation, for playing make-believe and all that kind of stuff. And we're not talking about actors to some degree. We're talking about reality television people. Have you ever had the miracle, though, of having literally a performer or the talent where they have just been – where you're like, oh, my God, you are just like a kid, where you are willing to try anything that comes your way? Because rather than kind of, pointing out who isn't doing it, is there anybody that comes to mind where you were just like, man, this guy, this gal was just terrific and open to everything?
It's funny you should mention that, because the last show in my career, Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay was like that. He was willing to do anything that sounded good. So, and he would come in and shoot for a couple of months and then go away while we edited for 10 months and just completely leave us alone. So that was a really good experience.
That plays. I mean, that I would venture to guess that's why he is so successful and still continues to, right? I mean,
well, you got to remember, on Hell's Kitchen, the dinner service was like 2.5 hours, and we showed you 10 minutes of it, and we made sure we lined up when we casted the show. We made sure we picked, a dozen people that couldn't cook a lick, and then 4 people that could cook really well, so there would always be that conflict going on.
Do you find yourself after leaving LA? So my husband and I lived in LA for a long time. He actually works. My husband works in reality TV as well, and but I found myself being more inspired about LA and Hollywood when I didn't live there. Like, I got re-inspired. So now when I go back, I'm invigorated. It really just it plays into, change of scenery and wherever you are. So did you find that as well? And was that just maybe taking you out of Hollywood and planting you somewhere else? Having, did your surroundings play into your reinvigoration, you think?
Yes, 100%. Just getting out of that daily grind, and into the fresh air. Really,
Yeah,
it really makes a difference. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on sharing this, Lindsay. The mollusk will undulate under the sea, and if you are there to see it, it's the place to be. And Gonzalo Castaneda is the one who did the illustration for that.
I hear the song for it. I'm a songwriter, Rusty. We might need to team up. I just heard it. I heard it in my head.
And working the word undulate in there just makes me so delightfully happy. And by the way, guys, it's not done when it's done. The book actually demands you participate. So many do-it-yourself pages, so many opportunities for you and your children to create your own poems and to create your own kind of worlds here.
It's kind of like toilet paper for kids. What's that word of the day on the toilet paper? This is like that for kids. We're giving them imagination.
Oh, the calendar, the toilet paper calendar, the vroom, vroom,
No,
vroom.
like the word of the day. Yeah, the word of the day, because he's throwing in words here that you have to stop and be like, what does that mean for an adult or a child?
Yeah, I think undulate is another one of those words that's just fun to say, and they're going to look it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, just an absolute blast. Let me ask you this. The best ideas, while we're working on them, give us more ideas. Was there anything that kind of sprang from this, that kind of sprang from Pelican, that kind of just, you said, oh my God, I got to do this next? Were you inspired to do anything else from doing this project?
Yes, because I think there was a poem about a rattlesnake. I'm not sure if that was Pelican or not, but anyway, now the one I'm working on now is called The Two-Headed Snake, which kind of flowed from the previous one. So. And also inspired by a two-headed snake I saw once at a freak show on Venice Beach.
Oh my God, I just got so much anxiety. Oh my God. That's all my words. I have this fear, Rusty. Sorry, speaking of snakes, I have to. This is a safe space. I feel like there's zero reason I should have it, but every night if I get up to go to the bathroom, I'm convinced there will be a snake in my toilet. I'm convinced of it. There's never been. There's no reason it should be. So I have to pee with the lights on. So in case that inspires anything in you, Rusty, you can use my fear for your writing.
The snake in the toilet.
Yeah,
that
make
could be
it
a whole
nice.
book. That could be a whole book.
It could put a smile on its face so I can start peeing again. And
It's so
There you go.
it's so funny, by the way, because you mentioned being at the being at the boardwalk show. There are so many of these drawings, Lindsay, that actually are laid out like the old boardwalk kind of big signs. As you'd walk down the boardwalk, they really have that sense.
Like the posters, yeah.
Yeah, and they really have that sense of it. It really is great. Thank you so much for making the time for us today, man. Really appreciate
Thanks for having
you.
me on.
Oh, you got it.
Briefly, it's rustyaustin.com and Awesome Bird the Pelican.
RustyAwesome.com and Austin Bird the Pelican. Is that what you said? Wait.
Yeah.
An
Awesome.
Awesome Bird the Pelican.
Awesome.
AwesomeBirdThePelican.com.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
RustyAustin.com and the book is called An Awesome Bird the Pelican.
There it is.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. RustyAustin.com. And that is over on our website as well. In case you forget it, you can head over to Radio Nemo, find all of our guests, find more info about Rusty, how to find him, how to find all his books. Because, by the way, he has a lot of books that he's written, and he ain't stopping anytime soon. Rusty, we're ready for the third act, so keep going.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vincent.
We take a quick break there. Thank you, Rusty. Well,